Hello and welcome to the United Stand on this afternoon of a Thursday special. To be honest with you, I couldn't wait till 8:30, and that actually rhymes as well, doesn't it? I could not wait because there's lots to discuss. There's lots to discuss about Morata. There's lots to discuss about Fabinho, which is really disappointing me, if I'm totally honest with you. But apparently, in relation to Morata, let's bring you updates with him. The reality is that the personal terms have been agreed, and that was reported by our man Marcio this morning and many others. But the rub of it is that potentially now that this deal could run until next week, which would be really disappointing, wouldn't it? It'd be disappointing. The problem Manchester United face with this deal, and I think it's something we've discussed quite a few times, and I'm sure a lot of you are aware of as well, is that Real Madrid want £78 million, not €78 million. He's not really worth more than 60. So them adding, and I think Manchester United are quite right to be annoyed by it, because they did buy him back, and yeah, it was a buyback for about 30 million a year ago. He's hardly played for Real Madrid in a year, but his value has gone up by threefold. You know, they are mugging us off completely, but we spoke about that last night, that because we don't want to give them to Gea, they feel that they're in a strong position to mug us off. And I said it last night, to be honest with you, I really like Morata. I do like him. I can see why Mourinho wants him, and I think he'll be very successful at Manchester United. But it's a real pain in the backside that we've put ourselves in this situation where we are totally and utterly beholden to Real Madrid. Why did we not see this coming? Why did we not see that Real Madrid were going to mess us around this summer if we wanted any of their players? Because if we were giving them De Gea, they'd probably give us Morata for about 40. But because we won't give them De Gea, they are up in the price. And I mean, it was 60, it was 70, it's now up to €90 million, which is £78 million sterling for Alvaro Morata. And, you know, in the way the market is this summer, maybe that's not too bad. And I totally agree with what I said last night, that let's get the money spent on the players that Jose Mourinho wants. But it's dragging on and on. He's getting married. I don't know whether he's getting married. I've not been invited. I don't know why. But I thought it was Friday. Then I heard it was Saturday. Then some people are saying it's Friday. But we know he's in Venice for his wedding. So my thought was personal terms have been agreed with Morata. So it should be a case of Manchester United could do what they did with Lindelof at the weekend and say, look, he is a Manchester United player pending international clearance and a medical, and that gets announced today. And then after his honeymoon, he comes back and he does his medical. But that doesn't look like that will happen today, because there is this constant issue with the fee, and this is Real Madrid. And to be honest with you, I am sort of getting to that point. I don't know what you lot think, that as good as Morata is, and I really do want him, I don't want us to be messed around by Real Madrid. If there was another option out there, and there potentially is with Aubameyang and Belotti, I'd be thinking, leave it. Take it or leave it. That's our offer. Take it or leave it, and line somebody else up. But I'm a little bit like that myself. I want to talk about Fabinho. Really disappointed about that. That's probably the main reason I went live, really, because I just can't get out of this depth of despair that we might sign Nemanja Matic. I mean, I don't know what you will think about it, but Matic at Manchester United, I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not saying that. He's just a very dull, uninspiring signing that I would not expect Manchester United to be making. Why are we buying players that the Premier League winners don't want anymore? For one, we're Manchester United. Why are we buying a player that's not really a Manchester United player anyway? Because he is better than Fellaini. I know it's a joke to say he's just a Fellaini without a wig, and he is tall. He is better on the ball. He's got a better shot on him. I wouldn't agree about him being quicker. I've heard people saying that he's quicker. I wouldn't agree with that. But he's just a very uninspiring footballer, and I don't want him at Manchester United. If he signs for us, I'll back him because I back Mourinho. But I really hope Mourinho is sort of being fed back what fan opinion is about Matic, because 99% we don't want him. He's just not exciting as a Manchester United player, and there are so many. Fabinho's better than Matic anyway. He is. I don't care what anybody says. I will argue that. But it was reported yesterday that we weren't in for Fabinho. It's come out again today from the BBC, which, in fairness, when it comes to UK news, they are pretty good. and that's from Mourinho. He's not interested in Fabinho. So if we're not interested in Fabinho, we've got to move on from that. The fans don't pick the signings. I think those people who were, and there are a few people who are apparently in the know, going, oh yeah, we're in for Fabinho. Well, you know, where are they with their videos now? How are you going to justify that? All I'd ever said about Fabinho was what was said at the start of May by Dimarzio, that we wanted Reggie Nainggolan from Roma, but if we couldn't get him, Fabinho was a backup option. But that was at the start of May. This is like the middle of June. That was 6 weeks ago. I've not heard that we're in for Fabinho for 6 weeks. So, but I've seen people over the last few days saying Manchester United are definitely in for Fabinho. Well, clearly we're not. So where are you getting your information from? It's clearly not right. So we can't pick him. We're not signing the players. Mourinho is. I totally agree with all of you lot that Fabinho would be the right man for Manchester United, because we need somebody who is quick, can read the ball, can play the ball, and allow Pogba and Herrera to have that freedom a little bit more up front. So Fabinho would be perfect. He's Champions League experience. He's done it. He's young. George Mendes is his agent. You know, everything pointed towards that deal being done. If that's not going to happen, it cannot be Matic, as I said, for the reasons there. I don't want cast-offs from Chelsea. That's the biggest thing. He's just not. It doesn't inspire me. He's a boring signing. And I think one of the big things that came up on the Skype Goldbridge show last night from a lot of you lot was that, yeah, there was some glimpses of good play from Manchester United last season, but a lot of it was boring and negative. And the great point that came from the show last night, which I'd not even considered, and is very, very true. Man City, Spurs especially, they are capable of beating teams 5 or 6-0, and they have done it in the last season. When do we ever look like doing it? Apart from Leicester, which we did, which was a freak first half because we scored a corner as well. It was just a freaky day. We never look like we're going to batter somebody. And buying someone like Matic is not going to make us any more expressive. It's going to make us more defensive. So I don't want Matic. So I'm sort of hoping that Mourinho's on the same page with that. I refuse to believe we're in for Matic, as I said last night. But if we're not getting Fabinho, the options become quite... I don't want Eric Dyer either, but he's better than Matic. But it's got to be Reggie Nainggolan. I'm always rubbish with his name, from Roma. Although apparently he's meant to be happy in Rome. If we got him, I'd be ecstatic. If it's not him, Matuidi. He only has a year left on his contract. He is a client of Mini Raiola. And I think we could get him for half of the price of Fabinho. And if you're looking long term for Fosu Mensah, as I said about, I've been on about this for about 3 months now, maybe even longer. Matuidi would be a good signing because he's in his late 20s. In fact, I think he might be 30 very soon. You get 1 or 2 years out of him, allow Fosu Mensah to work under him, and then Fosu Mensah takes it on. If that was the plan, I think that would be great. So apart from Matuidi, Nainggolan, I mean, there will be other options out there, but I don't want to start going into obscure. I really don't want to. It's disappointing. It's disappointing because, you know, most United fans are quite educated. Most football fans are quite educated, and when you believe in something like Fabinho, you get quite excited about it because you know that that's a position we need to sort out. And you see in the Fabinho type player that he is very mobile, he does read the ball very well, and he's good on the ball. He's exactly what we need. If you put Matic in there, well, he's not particularly mobile. He's a boring player to watch. He's quite cumbersome, and he's old. I mean, is he 29? 29 in August. So, I mean, so is Reggie Nainggolan, to be honest, but he's a totally different player. Samson says, have you ever heard of Jorginho from Napoli? I really like him. He's more like he's mid-20s. He's more like a Michael Carrick sort of midfielder. I really do like him. Yes, but I've not heard of us being linked to him at all. We have been linked with this lad called Talisco. I forget his first name. He's at Benfica on loan for Besiktas, and he's come out today and said that he really likes Mourinho and watch this space. He's bang average. I've been arguing with people about this on Twitter today, saying, oh no, he's a good player. He'd be really good for United. And I think this is another example of people lowering their expectations. Why the hell are we interested in a reject from a pub league, Benfica, going to another pub league in Besiktas? And before everyone starts saying, well, Lindelof played in a pub league, Lindelof's an international and he's done very well in the Champions League and he's taken a step up. This Talisco, whatever his name is, he's not particularly quick, and the Turkish league is just not a very good league. This Manchester United, I don't care whether you like him or not, Manchester United should be looking better than that. If Benfica don't want him, why do we want him? And I just think it's a prime example of a player, yet again, you'll get 4 or 5 of these doing it in the next few weeks, who mention Manchester United to get a better deal elsewhere. Do not want him at all. Jayant says that the Matic rumours frustrate me. Yeah, they frustrate me as well. Jag1502 says, Mark, who do you think is Jose's surprise signing? Well, we're trying to find out whether that was actually said. I mentioned it on the show last night because I thought it was said, but maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it was. Maybe it isn't. I do like Enzonzi as well as a centre defensive midfielder. I know he's a bit left field. People remember him from Stoke. His game has gone on a lot. He's improved his game a hell of a lot. He's at Sevilla now. Juventus are interested in him. I would take him every day of the week over Matic. I really would. I want us to go and sign our own players. Shuri Kara says, Morata is also a reject. Why are you so excited? Well, Morata, I suppose, in the strictest sense of the word, may well be described as a reject. But I would also flip that coin and say that he's done very well in Juventus in Serie A. He's done very well when called upon for Real Madrid. And Real Madrid are back-to-back Champions League winners and back-to-back La Liga winners, I think, as well. And he gets a lot of game time for them off the bench. And the players ahead of him are, Ronaldo, effectively. Benzema gets picked over Morata because Morata's more expressive. Benzema is happy to be a dog's body to Ronaldo. Benzema doesn't score that many goals. He's just an absolute dog's body. He works really hard and he's happy to lay it off for everybody else to take the glory. Morata's more of a creative and wants to put the ball in the back of the net himself, and Ronaldo prefers to play with Benzema. So to call Morata a reject, I don't think you're a reject when you sit on the... I mean, was Javier Hernandez a reject at Manchester United? No, he wasn't. He was a very valuable player that we never should have got rid of because he was really good at what he did. He's not a United reject. Even though we sold him, he's not a reject. So, yeah, maybe I'm falling into your trap a little bit there, but he's not a reject. Orison says, correct me if I'm wrong. Thanks for the contribution. He says, I think we scored from 3 corners against Leicester. I don't know. It was a freaky day, a very freaky day. So, the Morata thing, just for those who've joined us a little bit later, personal terms have been agreed according to DiMarzio and others, which I think is true. I think that's been I think Morata's wanting to join Manchester United is not in doubt. The issue is, as we've been predicting and concerned about over the last couple of weeks, is that if we are not giving Real Madrid De Gea, any business we do with Real Madrid is very, very difficult. And now they want £78 million apparently, not 78 million euro, 78 million pounds, which is nearly 90 million euro. And I know people say, well, just pay it, it's not our money. But if you are, say, Ed Woodward, and you've got a list of 4 players and you're not allowed to spend... Because remember, Manchester United could spend anything they want. They could spend £700 million and never break sweat. But if the Glazers, who want profit, have said to Woodward, you're only spending £200 million this year, this summer, and Mourinho wants 4 players, and he's... and Woodward's costed that up. Well, he spent 30 on Lindelof. Then he's got 60 to spend on Morata, but that turns into 80. And that's 20 gone off the back, isn't it? So it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. Josh Saunders says, do we still have a secret target? I hope so. Robert Dusrama says, need to start looking for another striker regardless. Agreed with Mark, we need 2 strikers. I think we need 2 strikers for sure. And Lynn Hall says, Mark, have you heard that Aubameyang to PSG has fallen through due to £60 million fee? I have, Lynn. I don't know whether it's true. If Aubameyang's available for £60 million and Real Madrid want 78 for Morata, you know what? Aubameyang was always my number 1 anyway. As you know, if you watch the United stand, I always said that Aubameyang, Icardi would be my dream 2 if I could get the 2 I wanted for Manchester United. I never expected us to get them. I'd be very happy with Belotti and Morata, but if Aubameyang is available, then we should drop down tools on Morata and get Aubameyang. And that sounds really harsh on Morata, but we should. Or we should get Aubameyang and Morata, which would be even better. But no, I don't think we're in for Aubameyang. I said it would be inexcusable if he goes anywhere other than Real Madrid, because we should be at the front of the queue. Mr. Red Devil, I really do like Gelson Martins. He'll probably end up at Liverpool now. But like Fabinho, I can't delete the videos I've said about Fabinho, and I said it at the time. If Manchester United get him, I'll be very, very excited. If he goes to Manchester City or Arsenal or whoever else, I will have to sit back and say that's a really good signing for them. Fabinho is a good player that we should be interested in, and whoever gets him is going to get a really good player. Doesn't look like it's going to be us. And I'd say in relation to Martins as well, I really like him because he's skillful and he's fast, but I don't think we'll get him. He'll probably end up at Liverpool. And I suppose that's the contrast really, isn't it? It's a bit like that when you're talking about Matic. I've heard some people defending him, saying he'll be really good for us. And I think personally, and I can only speak of my point of view. My 2 points are this: one, I don't want players from Chelsea that they don't want anymore, really, unless it's somebody like Willian who comes in and does a specific job and is quite an exciting player. I don't want Fabregas or Matic, who are players they really don't want anymore. I mean, I think you could get Willian, but they probably want to keep him. If they sell Matic and Fabregas, it's because they don't want him, because they're looking at people like Verratti, Bakayoko, people like that, maybe even Fabinho. So they get a better upgrade and we get their cast off. So I don't want that. And the other thing is, the player that Matic is, he's just boring. He's not very quick. He's very. It's like, as I said, he's a toilet roll signing. You know, you go down Sano's, you buy yourself some toilet roll, and it will do the job very effectively at tidying up the crap. But if you buy yourself some nice, fragranced wet wipes, it's a much better experience and it's exciting. That's a really bad analogy, but you know what I mean. It's not an exciting signing. And as much as I dislike Liverpool, look at them last season and how well they played with Mane. They were an exciting team. Awful defensively, but they were an exciting team. And I think if you speak to any Liverpool fan, if you can get your spit shield up, then it's... oh dear. Sometimes I make myself laugh, very rarely. But it's... lost it. I make myself laugh. I never laugh at my own jokes. That's poor. But yeah, you look at Liverpool. So they've got Mane. They're very attacking. They're very exciting. And Liverpool fans are on the edge of the seat when they watch them, and it works. If they bring Martins in there, that's another exciting player for them. So they might not win the league, but they are getting excited. Manchester United, were we excited really from probably mid-February to the end of the season? We were very few and far between exciting games. And that's why I don't want Matic. That's why I want somebody who's a little bit more than a break up the play centre defensive midfielder. I want something a bit more than that, and I think that's what Fabinho would give you, Nainggolan would give you, Matuidi would give you. That's what I want. That's what I want. $70 million. If Aubameyang's going cheaper than Morata, you've got to do that deal, haven't you? Mane was a good signing, Adam Evans. I've got to say, he was a good signing. We were never in for him, by the way. It's part of every Liverpool player's contract that they sign, is they must be have something to do with Southampton Football Club, and they must also say Liverpool snubbed me. I snubbed Manchester United. In fact, Joe Cole put it in his autobiography that he was told to say that when he signed, that United had snubbed United to sign for Liverpool. Small club mentality. Small club mentality. Frederick Anderson says, my 4 signings would be Nainggolan, Dembele, Aubameyang, Keita. What 4 signings that would be. Look, I suppose that's part of the problem, isn't it? Look, we've all got our signings that we would make. I agree with that. That's what football's all about. It's all about opinion, and most of us won't agree on those things. But if you were Manchester United, if I was Manchester United manager this summer, and I watched Manchester United more than Mourinho's watched Manchester United in the last 10 years, because we're all United fans, so of course we have. So I'm aware of what I think United need to do to improve themselves, as are you. So let's forget we've signed Lindelof. No, let's keep Lindelof, because I'm happy with that signing. So Lindelof is signed. I've got 3 more signings to make. Now we expect Mourinho to sign Morata, Perisic, and then maybe Matic or Eric Dyer, and that would be his 4 signings. So my 3 signings would be: forget Perisic, forget Morata, get Aubameyang, go all out for Dembele, but if you can't get Dembele from Dortmund, get Costa from Bayern Munich. And my centre defensive midfielder would be one of the 3 I've just mentioned there: Fabinho, Nainggolan, or Matuidi. And I think, so if you compared Mourinho's 4 signings, and I should do a poll on this, if you compared Mourinho's 4 signings of Lindelof, Dyer or Matic, Perisic, Morata, and you compared mine of Lindelof, Dembele or Costa, Nainggolan, Fabinho or Matuidi, Aubameyang, I'd imagine most of you, well, hit a like if you prefer mine, because I would imagine most of you are going to not going to go for the, you know, workman-like, probably quite good Mourinho way. You're going to go for the more, I want to be on the edge of my seat sort of way. And I think that's what United fans want. But what I would also say is that we don't actually know. We don't know until September the 1st what his lineup's going to be. We don't know, and in relation to transfers. But as I said last night, and I was joking, we know that there was a Europa League list, and we know that there was a Champions League list based on if we got in the Champions League, that's the list. If we don't get in the Champions League and we're back in the Europa League, that's my list. And I've read it yesterday. It did make me laugh. Mourinho's obviously got his lists. Mourinho needs to go and check his desk drawer at Carrington because he's given Woodward the wrong bloody list. He's given him the Europa League list because Perisic, Morata, I know there's a lot of people against them. I've got no problem with us signing them. They are good players and they will be good players. But I do agree that we could have gone better. We definitely could have gone better. Who will be United's number 7, says Dan Butterworth, is a question and a show in itself. I do not know. I think it's very difficult to know. It would have been Griezmann. It may stay vacant. Unless we are making a signing that is going to really shock the world. I mean, Dembele would be brilliant, wouldn't he? But yeah, I don't know. I can't see that you can't give Perisic the Manchester United number 7. Could you give it to Mkhitaryan? Yeah. Could you give it to Rashford? Yeah. We'll see. Daniel Lewis, you've made the comment of the day if it comes true. He says, we ain't getting Eric Dyer or Matic. And I hope you're right. I really do. This is a good question from Mr. Red Devil. He says, Dembele, Martins or Di Maria. It has to be, if you know those 3 players, it has to be Dembele. I'd be happy with Martins. Di Maria, I'd be gutted with. I'm talking about Osman Dembele from Dortmund as well. I did the transfer show on him this morning. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. It was only meant to be a quick one, but you've enticed me in with your brilliant conversation on live comments as per usual. So Morata, we know that personal terms have been done, but we don't know when the signing's going to be done. And this talk that it could roll into next week now, when many of us thought it would be done today. Maybe it still can do. If it does, we'll go live. And Fabinho, we've had it pretty much from all the decent sources now that Manchester United aren't in for him. We need to move on. If it happens, it'd be a nice surprise. But I think a lot of us, me included, were in denial, saying, oh, it's from the Manchester Evening News yesterday and The Sun and this lot. It's come from the BBC today. They are quite credible. It's not 100%, but I think we need to move on from Fabinho. It's gutting, but if we're not in for him, we're not in for him. We aren't the manager. Mourinho is, and we're not. So we need to be thinking, what do we want? And I would begin and end at Raji Nainggolan, who DiMarzio said Manchester United want. And that was running towards the end of the season and around the start of May. So if he put his list in April, maybe he's the one. I tell you what, if we get him, we'd all be very much over the blues of Fabinho very quickly, I think. But let's just hope it's not Dyer or Matic. Whisper it, and Mourinho might not hear it. But yeah, lots to discuss. I'll be back tonight at 8:30. Hopefully, things are a little bit up in the air with the wife and the baby, and things could be happening today. But I will go live at some point off my phone. But I'm glad I got the chance to do this in case I'm not back later. But if Morata signs, I will be anyway. He'll have to wait. But thanks everyone for watching. Remember to drop a like on the video. I think it's nice for us to have spoken about Fabinho, because I know there's a lot of frustration out there, and that's what the United stands for. It's for us all to come together as a community and chat it out. So thanks for that. I certainly feel better. I was getting very, very frustrated. But I'll see you all later. Thanks everyone for watching, and speak to you all soon. And don't forget to drop the video a like, and there will be some of you that are new, subscribe to the United Stand. Fantastic community, as you will see on the live comments and below, so get involved.